Let's go. 2024 class. Let's lead off here, Z. What comparison will you draw from 2023 to 2024? Because 2023, pretty epic, historic draft year when we look at the recent decade or two. How's it stack up?
Yeah, I mean, like, first of all, obviously 2023, just an incredible draft. Like, every player was really fun to watch. But even with that said, like, towards the end of the season, like, as you're leading up to the draft, you kind of are just like, all right, like, I'm ready to kind of turn the page on 2023. So this is also a very exciting time. The Hlinka Gretzky's, that tournament's coming up in a couple weeks here. That's kind of like the kickoff for the 2024 class. Like, the Hlinka is that kind of like starting point, that first tournament. And this class is a whole lot of fun. It's very different. It's kind of like the polar opposite, where 2023 was certainly the draft of the forward. Outside of a few surprises that we saw early in the first round, it was a pretty forward heavy in terms of like guys with the highest ceilings. It was a super forward heavy class. This class, I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 guys who have legit chances as defensemen to go in the top 10. So it is a very different draft class in that sense. And like another piece I was telling you beforehand is it's a pretty, like, in terms of demographics, where guys are coming from, it's a pretty diverse like top end of this draft too, where you've got guys in the USHL headed towards college. You've got guys in the CHL. You've got a couple Russians. You've got Finland. Like, a couple of Finns should go pretty high in this draft too. And it's been a while since we've seen that. So it's a very different class, but a very exciting one nonetheless. Like, obviously, it's probably not going to be as deep as 2023 because this draft was insane. But there's a whole lot of players to be very excited about at the top end too. And I think that's where we'll probably focus more today, of that top 10, and a couple of guys that, you know, are worth mentioning that have first round pedigree. But I'm really excited. This is like the fun part of like scouting a draft class, is like this period where you're kind of getting used to, or kind of studying the players where they've been the past couple of years, how they did in their draft minus 1 year. And then kind of try to figure out the projection and where they all line up. Because again, like at this time last year, there were a whole lot of guys that we were hammering like top 15 for sure, and they fall into the second, third, fourth round a couple weeks ago. So this is a really, really exciting time. And it kind of, it's like I said, towards the end of this past season, like you really are like, all right, I'm ready for the draft to happen. Like, especially when they haven't played in a couple weeks, like the Memorial Cup happens, and then there's the lull where there's just no like prospects playing before the draft, and you're kind of just like sick of it. And then this is kind of like that fresh start here. So I'm real pumped to get going in 2024. It's a lot different, but very exciting.